Death of a Unicorn is like I guess like a cosmic Jurassic Park, and we're going to review it. So let's do this. Death of a Unicorn stars Paul Rudd, Jenna Ortega, Téa Leoni, and is directed by Alex Sharfman.
We have a moral imperative to harvest every last one.
What's up, guys? Welcome to a brand new 2025 review. We're going to review Death of a Unicorn, the new A24 movie starring Paul Rudd, Jenna Ortega. This was the big question mark for me. For a couple reasons, I guess. A24 always puts out quirky, character-driven movies, which I love. And I'm a huge fan of Paul Rudd and, of course, Jenna Ortega. I think they're both putting out great work these days. But as far as like the genre itself of this movie, I didn't know if it was going to lean more towards horror or more towards comedy or somewhere directly in the middle. Yeah, I think it's just a perfect horror comedy. It leans somewhere both in the middle. You're going to be laughing your ass off, but also there's some great creature violence, creature bloody violence in this movie. Also, real quick, wanted to dedicate this review to Bronson Wright Wolf, one of my longtime patrons, and he's always been a good friend and big movie lover. And so this one is for you, Bronson. I appreciate you, good sir. So let's not waste any time. Let's give you a quick plot synopsis. Paul Rudd plays Elliot, and his daughter is Ridley, played by Jenna Ortega. And he is going out to this ranch as a lawyer, a potential lawyer. It's like a job offer. And I think a lot hinges and depends on him getting this job. His wife passed away, so he's handling like single father duties with his daughter, Ridley. And there's kind of a rift between them two as well because, you know, it's adulting, right? You have to make a living for your children. And I think sometimes fathers and mothers, you know, they have to put their career maybe farther ahead of being a parent than they actually want it to. And I think he's in that situation here. He loves his daughter. That's pretty much established at the beginning of the movie. But, you know, sometimes from his daughter's point of view, he doesn't seem like as good of a father as maybe he is. And I think if you are a parent, you might see things from his point of view a little bit better than maybe if you're a child. You're probably going to see things more from her point of view. And don't get me wrong, he is definitely making some bad daddy moves in this movie from time to time. Maybe subconsciously, but he is. So that is a driving factor in this movie. But once they get out to this ranch, then it becomes this big ensemble piece. One of the characters, the owner of the ranch, he is dying of cancer. You have this eccentric family. Téa Leoni is the mother of her son, Shepard, played by Will Poulter, who steals every freaking scene he's in. But it's also great to see Téa Leoni back. I haven't seen her in anything in a while, and she chews up the scenery as well with the character that she's playing, you know, because she just plays a really well-off, narcissistic type of person. And her son's, you know, has those qualities on steroids, and he's an idiot. But let me back up a little bit because I did get ahead of myself. When Elliot and Ridley are on the way to this ranch, they have an accident. They hit a unicorn, like a baby unicorn. Let's just say this unicorn has an effect on them. And I mean that in a positive way, right? It makes them healthier. It strengthens like Elliot's vision. It clears up Ridley's acne. You get the idea. So they take this unicorn that they've hit to this ranch. And once they get it there, the eccentric family, they see the effects that this unicorn has, and then they kind of want to harness it because they're greedy bastards. But without going any further as far as the plot goes, because I don't want to spoil anything, but getting that unicorn there causes really violent and horrible things to happen and hilarious things to happen along the way. This is a creature feature in every sense of the word, but it's also mixed with A24 type characters that are quirky, that are fun. You know, this doesn't feel like, say, if like Universal or Warner Brothers got a hold of a story like this, the characters would be more generic. In Creature Features, One thing that we often ask for as a bonus, really, are characters that are interesting. Going back to like the latest Jurassic World movies that are absolutely horrible. One of the big reasons is because the characters are just completely expendable. You don't care about them at all. You're clapping when they die. Whereas this movie, every single character in this has a distinct personality. Most of them are not likable. But then you have Elliot and Ridley. They're really the ones that you're rooting for here. And I gotta say, Jenna Ortega is a pivotal character in this because she starts studying up on this, this unicorn legend and what it all might mean. And nobody's wanting to listen to her. So that's kind of a funny aspect. Everybody's so selfish in this movie. And because of that, it potentially could cost them. One actor that I definitely noticed was Anthony Carrigan. He's pretty much like the help, the butler. He plays his character Griff. He always plays eccentric characters. If you guys have never seen Barry, that's on Max or HBO, I cannot stress enough how great that show is and how great he is in that show as Hank. One of my favorite characters, I think, of the last decade. And he plays sort of a similar type character in this, because he is the butler, he is treated like complete crap by this selfish family. Now let's talk about the horror of this movie, the violence, the creatures. This definitely feels like, I guess, like a unicorn Jurassic Park. There's even scenes in this movie that feel very similar to the first Jurassic Park. You know that scene where the T-Rex is like outside of, I think it's like a tent. Actually, that's in The Lost World. Okay, but you'll know what I mean when you see the movie. There's definite Jurassic Park vibes in this. And if this were a Jurassic Park movie, it'd probably be one of the better ones because of how strong the characters are. But speaking of violence, and I'm not going to spoil any of the kill scenes, oh my God, they are glorious and sometimes hilarious. The way the fodder is taken care of is handled in this movie. Very creative kills. And the horror fan in me was just, leaping out of my chair and jumping for joy at some of these kill scenes. I don't want to, overhype it or anything for you guys, but let me just say, I love a good creature feature, and I love it when they really let the creatures loose, I guess, to rip the victims to shreds. I love that stuff, okay? The crowd was loving this movie. Everybody was roaring and laughing. I'm not saying it's like, a full-blown slapstick comedy. No, not at all. It definitely has a serious vibe to it, but there is definitely a comedic undercurrent to the movie, especially with certain characters like Will Poulter and Taleone. But I think every character has something to offer in this. And I think a lot of them were so strong that it wouldn't have surprised me if this movie shifts character-wise and, the characters that you didn't think would last at the end, maybe they last at the end, That's not a spoiler. I promise you it's not. It's just, I'm trying to make a point about how strong the characters are. Loved Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd, he plays a certain type of character, flawlessly. And I think, directors and storytellers, they utilize that strength that he has. He's so likable, and he can also play, kind of a buffoon. I don't want to call him an idiot, but just a little bit, I guess, naive at times, right? So yeah, I don't want to tell you anymore. I loved this movie. It is one of the better movies I've seen this year. And I was just talking about how this year has been kind of meh for the most part, give or take a couple of exceptions. But finally, this is another great movie. This isn't good. This is great. I promise you guys are going to have a blast with Death of a Unicorn. So get out there, see it, giving it a high purchase worthy. And it's definitely one that I'll add to my collection when it comes out. I would say see this in Dolby too, or just, IMAX, a really good sound system. The sound design was great in it as well for the creature stuff. And there is a lot of practical effects in there, a lot of practical effects. So I think my horror subscribers out there, they will appreciate that stuff, okay? So yeah, let me know what you guys think of Death of a Unicorn when you guys get a chance to see it. I'm so looking forward to hearing your thoughts, getting in the comments, and discussing it with you. Also, be sure to come over to Killer Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day. And on Fridays, we do Free for Fridays. Follow me at Drumdums on my socials, support me on Patreon, become a channel member, buy me a coffee. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a good day, and rum them out.